A few months ago, I made a video looking into how long it takes to get bolts in every single Ratchet and Clank game. Why? Because I'm an idiot. Anyways, today, after seeing some comments on my other video, you guys want to see me do it with platinum bolts. So today, we're going to be seeing how long it takes to get a special bolt in every single Ratchet and Clank game. This video will be excluding Before the Nexus, because it's inconsistent, as well as Ratchet Deadlocked and Quest for Booty, as they do not feature any special bolts. Without further ado, let's get started. We start off with Ratchet and Clank 1, where we obviously start on Veldin. And there's a pretty popular trend throughout all Ratchet and Clank games. Every first planet you go to, you never end up revisiting, so they never end up having any special bolts. So we had to get through Veldin, and then we crash land onto Novalis. We head to the right path where you would normally meet up with the plumber. This is where we decide to wall jump up this area, collecting our first gold bolt in only a minute and 51 seconds, which is really good. Same story with Ratchet and Clank 2 going Commando. We start off on Aranos, and just like Veldin in Ratchet 1, this level does not have a platinum bolt. We will have to wait until we get to Uzla, the very next level, until we can get the platinum bolt. And unfortunately, the closest one is all the way at the end of the tractor beam section. So we have to make it over here, hop on these llamas, take a ride to the tractor beam guy, purchase a tractor beam, stack these towers up, and then collect the platinum bolt. This only took a little over 4 minutes, and it really didn't feel like that. It flew by. Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal has 2 Veldin sections, but it was the same story. We had to wait until we got past both Veldin sections until we landed on Florana. Now, Florana would normally only have one path, leading to the bolt underneath the one checkpoint. We'd have to kill a lot of the Nobla natives, and it would take overall longer. Instead, I decided to do the Path of Death bridge skip, where you're able to jump onto this rock and then jump right through this little crevice between the bridge, and you're actually able to skip, go straight through the bridge, and go straight to the Path of Death. We immediately then headed for the Platinum Bolt in the Path of Death, getting it in under 4 minutes, beating out Going Commando. As for Ratchet and Clank Going Mobile, and yes, I am including Going Mobile in this video. All true fans love Going Mobile. This one was very simple. We head to the first level, Circuit, and unfortunately, we do see 2 Platinum Bolts, but we can't get them yet until later. Once we head to the next level, Battlelands, that is when we then find our first available platinum bolt after this grind rail section. This only took us about 2.5 minutes. Now, Size Matters, for a change, does actually have a platinum bolt on the introductory level. You do unfortunately have to go through what this game calls the tutorial, where you follow around Luna as you fight through Pokitaru. But once we get through this section and we collect the armor, we then have access to where the first gold bolt is. We have to kill a couple of these robots, go up this grav ramp section, and then after that, there's a small cliff over to the left. Jump onto that, we get our first platinum bolt. This took us a little under 5 minutes. Not only is Tools of Destruction's introduction planet very long and tedious, it also has a lot of unskippable cutscenes, including but not limited to the very first cutscene here, which already takes around 2 minutes. And then the rest of this level still takes a good while, because it's just a lot of auto-scrolling on grind rails, and a couple enemies here and there. I do what I can to try to go as fast as I can through this level, but in the end of the day, it still took me several minutes. We then land on Cobalia. This is actually the first planet in the game to feature a special bolt. But unfortunately, we have to get through the entire first swampy section, defeat an entire Leviathan, and get through the Gelatonium factory. After that, we then do just a little bit of platforming to finally get our first gold bolt. This one took a while. We're talking over 16 minutes while. This one is definitely not getting first place. Just like Size Matters, Secret Agent Clank did have a titanium bolt on the first level. I guess that's something that High Impact Games is good at doing. They don't really have introductory levels. Unfortunately, in order to get this titanium bolt, we had to go all the way through the entirety of the Boltaire Museum, the first level in the game. I tried to get through here as quickly as I could, but to be brutally honest, this game is not very forgiving for trying to skip enemies, so we kind of had to take our time. We had to get all the way to the end of the level where we get the jet boots. This allows Clank to double jump. It is the most necessary thing. But not only is it necessary for normal gameplay, it's actually necessary for either of the 2 bolts on this level. We need to climb this weird golden statue guy again, and then we can double jump over to our first available titanium bolt. This one wasn't too bad, but it did take just under 10 minutes. Crack in Time is one of my favorite games in the franchise, but unfortunately, I knew that this one would be slow. The very first cutscene in the game is extremely long and extremely unskippable. We then follow up with a mandatory Clank mission. And no, there is not a gold bolt during this Clank mission, unfortunately. It would have been a huge savior if that was the case, but it is not the case. After finally getting through the Clank section, we do land on planet Zolar with Captain Quark. We navigate through the forest until we find a Fongoid mother whose children are in danger. So I go to rescue the first child, and by rescue I mean completely ignore him and head for our first gold bolt of the run. This one took a lot longer than I was hoping, but honestly, not as long as the next one is going to take. You all knew it was coming. Ratchet and Clank, All for One. This game took forever to get our bolt. Now, in this game, they're called hero bolts because there's 4 different characters that you can play as, so it wouldn't make sense for them to be gold. And in this case, I was Dr. Nefarious, so my bolt would actually just be purple. So we had to make it through the entire first section of Luminopolis, take out this gigantic creature monster thingy whose name I forget, and to be honest, don't care to remember because it's all for one. After we get the combustor and clear the tutorial, we then have a vacuum suck section, giving us another vacuum suck tutorial. At the end of learning how to use the vacuum suck, you then have to throw these 3 bombs into this trash chute, and it will unlock your first hero bolt. Now, I walked right past it because I was playing on a playthrough that I've already played before. It doesn't show the silhouette of a hero bolt if you already got it. So for that reason, I walked right past it, but we're going to go ahead and end the time right around when I should have picked it up. I'm sorry for the illegitimacy, but I was not about to play All for One again on a new save. Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault. Unlike the last couple games, this game was actually very, very quick. We start our new file on the Starship Phoenix 2, we kill these rogue robots, meet the villain of the game, and move on instantly to the Corgon refinery. Fortunately, we do have a small introduction cutscene where we are introduced to the first bit of enemies. Fortunately, we can just skip right past them, and that's exactly what we're going to do. We don't care about defending the base. We care about hover booting over here and grabbing our precious hero bolt. In a little over 2 minutes, putting this game way higher than I expected it to be. Into the Nexus was very tedious. We all know every Ratchet and Clank game has an introduction section, but this is one of the longest ones. We start off on the Nebulox 7. We instantly start by just waking up Kronk and Zephyr, and we have to head to the cage that has Vendra Prague. But we're not worried about Vendra, we're just worried about the gold bolts. Anyways, after we put these little battery bots on Vendra's cage, she breaks free, kills Kronk and Zephyr, RIP, and after 16 brutal minutes on this freaking ship, we are finally able to leave and get onto planet Yarick. This is where we are going to find our first gold bolt. We have to get through this first introductory section, and then as soon as we go to where our ship would be, head to the left path first. There's a little area here with the secret gold bolt, and we were able to pick it up in around 19 minutes, which isn't terrible, but definitely would have been so much faster if we could just skip the introduction. Regardless though, I had a good time with this because I love this game, and I really just wish it was longer and there was more to do. This game is amazing. Next up, we have Ratchet & Clank 2016, and as per usual, we have an introductory level, that being Veldin. Now, in the first section of Veldin, we have to go through the Galactic Ranger training. This doesn't take too long, but immediately after this, we are greeted with a boring Clank section. And unfortunately, you really can't speed this one up, as it's literally an introduction to Gadgetbots and Victor Von Ion, and literally just running in a straight line from him, dodging a couple things here and there. After this, you'd think we move on to the next planet. No. Clank crash lands on Veldin, and we have to save him. So it is now time for Veldin 2, or I guess Nighttime Veldin, where we get the combustor, we fight a bunch of Blarg, and then we have to clear out all the enemies by the garage so we can go back in and repair Clank. Only after this can we finally move on to Novalis. Now, Novalis would normally feature 3 gold bolts, as it would in the base game. Unfortunately, because Novalis gets deplanetized in this game, it does not feature gold bolts. I'm pretty sure this is the only Ratchet & Clank game in the franchise where the second level does not feature a gold bolt. So unfortunately, I speed ran as fast as I could through both sections of Novalis, the first section to get the plumber and the Iridia coordinates, the second to save Buckwash and get our ship repaired. As soon as we got our ship repaired, I skipped Kurwan because that would take a little bit, and I went straight to Iridia. On Iridia, we went for the skid section, which is where our first gold bolt was located. By blowing up this secret spot in the wall, finally able to grab our first gold bolt. This took us nearly 18 minutes, barely beating out into the Nexus. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, the most recent and at this moment the last Ratchet and Clank game we've had since 2021. I'm praying for a new one, I'm hoping for a new one, but in the end of the day, this is what we have. And it's a fantastic game. Unfortunately, it starts off with a very, very slow intro. Platforms you have to wait for, many cutscenes that you have to wait for. It's not the slowest intro, but it's one of the most boring because it's basically just auto scrollers. Up until you get to a certain point, the first like 10 minutes of this is basically just auto scrollers and cutscenes. Once you get to the Nefarious fight, that's where it gets a little fun, you know, you get to fight Nefarious and stuff. Only then, after defeating Nefarious, do we get to move on to Nefarious City, which features our first gold bolt. Prior to getting that gold bolt, we need to find Club Nefarious and find Phantom. As soon as we find Phantom, we decide to not follow him at all and instead go to this path to the right where we can find our gold bolt in around 16 minutes. Thank you so much for watching this weird video. On screen is a list of how long it took to get a special bolt in each Ratchet and Clank game from slowest to fastest. Let me know what you guys think of this video and if you want to see another one from another franchise anytime soon. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to all the members. Your support means the world to me. If you want to become a member, click the join button down below. Anyways, enough said. That's all I got for today. I'll see you guys in the next one, but Ninja out.